There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever entwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers or people said to be able to talk to the dead. We all have our belief systems and we all have our own truths. So come sit with Holly Jenkins and myself as we talk about all that and more. Welcome to Spiritually Paranormal. Woohoo! Woohoo! Well, we're here. I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but it's 24 degrees here right now. Welcome to November.
It's about 45 for us right now. It was about that. It was about 26 this morning when I got up, headed to work.
Welcome to November. Although I will say that we had cold weather a few years that I've been up here, and it's always like we've even had snow on Halloween. So yeah. Oh my God. So I saw some of the videos with the kids, what you did, and he was dancing to, I think it was Michael Jackson Thriller or something. It was so cute. I just loved it. So tell everybody what you guys did, because that was fantastic. That really was. I should have had you send me a video clip of it and I would have been able to put it up. It was cute as heck.
Well, for the Halloween party last Saturday, I, of course, took that 20-foot tunnel tent and turned it into a haunted house for all the kids, and had all this black plastic strips hanging from the front. There were about 200 of each color, 200 white, 200 black. And then the other half, so when you're going through it, you can't see in front of you. You can't see anywhere. And then you get to the white part of it, and it's all these white plastic strips, and there's monsters hidden in there. There's strobe lights going, and we were hiding. We were, of course, hiding in there, and the kids sent the kids in, to.
It was really cool. I mean, they looked like they were having a blast.
Oh yeah, and before that though, the one thing they love the most is the ghost hunt. So last year we hid 100 ghosts up in the woods. They're little ghosts I make with cotton ball, a coffee filter, and some string. So this year I made 200, and I give them all each their own bag, and they go and give them each a flashlight, and they head off into the woods hunting these ghosts, and it's hilarious to watch them with the flashlights. And suddenly, though, it's funny because they're after something, because if the three that get the most win a prize.
Oh, okay.
And so they're suddenly not even thinking about monsters in the woods, and it's dark and spooky and scary. They've got a flashlight to protect them, and they're after these ghosts to get the prize. So it's just hilarious to watch them do it.
I kind of miss that, because I used to really decorate a lot for Halloween, and then lost the house, and after that it was just kind of we lost all our decorations and stuff, and I thought, you know what, I'm too old for this crap, and Taylor was in college already, going to college, so and where I live now there are no kids, so right. And then I was thinking too, and I mentioned this to Tay, I go, when I was a kid, like I would say like 8 or 9, we'd get the whole group of kids in the neighborhood, and we actually had a lot.
We all went together, right?
Yeah, and we walked by ourselves, and we walked a mile north, 4 city blocks across, and a mile back to our street on our own, and we were like 10 and 11. Like, I mean, nowadays that would never be able to happen.
No, I told yesterday, the kids, Michaela brought the kids to my office because my boss was like, oh, you're going to I saw signs up for my other boss. I have 2 bosses. So one of them just a mile up the road. And there's signs everywhere about their Halloween thing. And I was like, oh, I need to bring the kids over here. And I was telling him about it. He said, no, go across the street to Richland. He's like, it's like a Hollywood movie set. You won't believe it. And I was like, okay. So took the kids over there when it got dark. me, Michaela, and Robert. And it was so heartwarming to see so many houses decorated to the hilt and kids everywhere, parents everywhere. All the lights were on. None of this business where everybody turned their lights off. And it was like the old days. I was like, oh, Halloween's not dead. Yay. It was just nice. It was so fun.
Yeah, we used to, when the kids were young, the last Halloween I went out with the kids. I took the kids, piled them all in my truck, and we went into town because we're rural up here. And we dropped them off. It was sleeting and snowing, but didn't give up, man. They were running to every house with the lights, and even the ones that would start, like they'd shut the light off because it was bad weather, they'd still run up. No, we're here. It was
well, when my grandsons called it quits. They went a block, and then they went 2 more blocks, and then we got in the car and we went up the road to this next street, and they did 1 more block, maybe half a block, and they were done. They got in the car, and I said, y'all are weak. Y'all are so weak. I said, we had to have strollers to carry our candy because our candy was so heavy. Because if there was a light on, we were knocking on some doors and ringing doorbells. We were not going to stop until we hit every single house we could possibly hit. I don't care how late.
Yeah, my dad used to take us for a couple blocks, and he'd actually pull the wagon, right? So we'd go and we'd have pillowcases that we'd use. And then we'd get the pillowcases full, we'd dump it in the wagon, right? And then
right. Because also when they thought you didn't have much candy, they gave you more.
Yep. And the thing was, though, after a while, when the wagon got full, my dad just went home and just sent us on, and we still had spare bags that we had. All of us had bags. And by the time I got home, though, my dad had picked all the good stuff out he wanted and left us all the other stuff. But yeah, those were the good days, man. We used to have fun. Now, they do take care of the kids. Like our main street in town is 2 city blocks long. You know, we're really a small rural town.
Yeah.
All the businesses light up, and they have like a Halloween parade, and they start at the main road that goes the other way, north and south, and they have all the kids, and they're giving stuff from the candy factory here. They're giving every business, even includes the bars, will give out candy to the kids. And what starts them off is the fire truck, right? So they drive down the 2 blocks, then they turn right, and they go to the firehouse, and that's where they have a huge party for all the kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's a safe way. You know, it's just a safer way. And actually, my grandson, I guess that's how they call me. I'm Grandma Bear to him. He's like 2.5 now, I think. They took him. There was a campground up near where they live, and they took him to the campground, and everybody brought their vehicles, and it was trunk Halloween.
Yeah, trunk or treat.
Yeah, you would not believe how they decorated all these trunks, and the adults were dressed up as witches and monsters and funny stuff, and the kids, and it was safe. Again, it was safe. I was just shocked at how much effort they put into their vehicles. Like the candy was in the trunk in like baskets, and if the kids dared enough to get close with all this creepy stuff that, you know, you buy those animated ones that move around and stuff. I used to have those, and they were actually on these people's cars. It was awesome. Awesome.
Well, I had a funny thing happen yesterday morning. So my boss calls me checking in, and he says, "Are you dressed up for Halloween?" And I said, "No, I normally do, but because you guys don't do it, I didn't do it." And he's like, "Oh man, I was betting you did." So that was funny. And then when he came in yesterday afternoon, he brought me back a gift from Salem. He went up to Boston a week or so ago, and so he stopped in Salem and brought me back this.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Now, these are hand done, handmade, And it even has a little note in here saying it's let me read it. Otherwise, I'll butcher it. It says this item is created by hand. Any imperfections or variations are due to its workmanship and are not to be considered as defects. And so it's number 540 of 2,000.
So they're miniatures, right?
They're not huge.
Oh, they're cards. Oh, okay. Cool.
They're the original, from what I've read online, the original tarot in 17 and 1800s. These were the number one tarot by far.
Wow.
But the problem is, I've been trying to find a book on them because it didn't come with a book. Because I'm like, it's 96 cards, not 78. So it's got an extra suit in there, and I have no idea what they mean. Because from what I've read, people are saying, forget what you think you know about tarot. That's not how you read these cards. And I'm like, well, hell, I definitely need a book now because I have no clue.
Yeah, but if you play with them enough, they'll tell you what they mean. Each one of them will tell you what they mean once you make the deck yours. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was nice.
Here. Everybody's saying hi to Holly. Cindy's here.
Hey.
Kay's here. Cindy Plume is here. Hi, Cindy Plume. Cookie Monster's here. We got a whole crew of them here today. Yes, we do. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. But yeah, so that's really awesome, though. I like to see Halloween have different things. I know the way the world is right now is really not great. And so to be able to give this to the kids and the young people and even the adults, I mean, I used to dress up all the time when I worked in the city.
Yeah.
I actually.
We're already planning next year. I'm going to make these 10-foot tall puppets that you wear on top of you. Oh yeah, it's on for next year, buddy. We're going to rock the street. We're going to rock it. But yeah, it felt really nice, and it was so just endearing to see the neighborhoods really come together. Instead of everybody shutting their lights off and not participating, everyone was there to have a good time and to create a special moment for the kids. And that there's nothing better.
Yeah, that's a great thing, and that's what we need to do. I just don't have kids where I live right now. There's no little ones because
there's right, and we live out in the woods, so we're not getting trick or treaters.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was great. Yesterday, actually, I sat and watched one of my favorite Halloween type movies, and it was 13 Ghosts.
I saw you posted that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I hadn't seen it in quite a few years. Taylor actually jumped on and said, "You never watched it with me," and I'm like,
oh, here we go again.
But yeah, it was good, and I just kind of chilled. It was kind of quiet.
That reminds me of when you got your book and she said to you, "You never read to me."
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that lately, let me tell you.
Well, so for the past month, at least 4 to 6 weeks, I've been doing a 10-hour fast. Nothing else is working for me. I've got some cream that is it's a natural, it's wild yam cream, helps balance your hormones. And so I've been trying that, and I've been on that now 3 months, I think. And I'm feeling better that way. But, the feet and the back are still a problem with getting back into a good exercise routine. So I started doing the 10-hour fasting, where I'm just drinking juice from my juicer 10 hours through the day and not eating. So I lost like 4 pounds. Whoop-de-doo. That ain't nothing. I need to lose a whole lot more than that. So I'm out of frustration. Then I was listening to Barbara O'Neill, and she was talking about a 17-hour fast. Said a 16 to 17-hour fast is one where your body takes 1,200 calories to digest a regular meal, a normal meal. And when you don't give it that meal, then what happens is your body has that energy, and it has something it needs something to do with the energy. So what it does is it goes to whatever needs the most care, and it will start healing your body.
Yeah.
One thing at a time, one day at a time. And it's only through the 16 to 17 hour fast that it will do that.
Hmm.
So yesterday I started my 17-hour, no, Monday, yesterday was Tuesday, hello. Monday I started my 17-hour fast. And actually I think it was easy for me because I'm already used to not eating throughout the day.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
so other people are like, God, you must be strong to do that. I don't think so. I don't eat after 8 o'clock at night, and then I'm going to sleep for a good portion of it, and I don't eat until 1 o'clock the next day. That's pretty easy.
That's actually not that hard to do.
I drink plenty of water. I drink loads of water, and I have a glass of juice in the morning instead of eating food.
Yeah, there's days I get up, I have absolutely zero, but I've actually lost a ton of weight, and I've actually yesterday I was looking in the mirror and I thought, oh my God, I've lost like in my face. I feel my face, not that it looks like I'm in my late teens or 20s. My head is smaller.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I'm losing, and of course, you get when we get older, we lose that stuff, and I haven't been able to exercise or anything, so I'm getting that. But it's all by little meals, and then I space them out, and like some meal I'll maybe have fruit, and later in the day I'll have a vegetable. I'll even go in and I've cut cucumbers up sometimes and just done cucumbers for like lunch, just for food. And I pretty much changed. The only time I really cook a big meal is when one of the kids are home.
Right.
So that's how I've lost it. And again, I drink a lot of water too. And it's just like once you hit that plateau, get over that plateau, it seems to be a little bit easier. And although I don't recommend how I lost a lot of my weight, it did get a lot of it off. Just
Right.
shed it. So it was
Well, from January till September, I was doing the almost no carbs. It was really low, extremely low carb. I'd have 2 eggs for breakfast. I would have just a small portion of skinless, boneless chicken and a handful of cherry tomatoes and some carrot sticks, and that was it. And then I would have dinner, whatever Robert cooked for us that evening. And we don't cook fatty, crazy meals or anything. Everything is homemade, home cooked. So people, but looking at me, you're think, oh my God, she pigs out all the time. She eats so much, but I don't eat that much at all. It's never been a part of food for me. It's always been my metabolism and my hormones.
Yeah. Well, and it's, that's it. It's everybody's metabolism is different, and sometimes it's just hard. Like,
not to mention menopause, what that does to us as well. Oh dear
I wouldn't
Lord.
know. I really wouldn't know about that.
Oh, whatever. Bite me. Where's my fairy friends? The fairies?
Okay,
load up. We're heading north.
Here's a topic I thought we could get into, and I'm. Let me see. What should I start with? Okay, I'm gonna put a slide up. Okay, because I made it, and it was actually kind of intriguing to me. And I actually saw something over the weekend where they were talking about it, and it's about like, do we have parallel worlds? Do we have?
Oh yeah.
Things that are trippy that we're like doing ourselves, or is the exact thing in a different time zone or a time year or whatever, because time is so weird. And I actually found that Einstein actually believed in it, and he actually was the one that brought out about portals, that it's a doorway or a gate or other entrance, especially a large and imposing one. That's what a portal, and that actually came from Einstein. So I was like, wow, I mean, we've talked about that.
That's a big rabbit hole you went down.
Oh, it was big, but I looked for, not the TikTok versions. I looked for, not the YouTube college. I actually went on science sites and sites from college, like I had from college. And it was interesting, and I didn't really realize that even the black hole was something that Einstein actually explained, but nobody believed him at the time. But
Right.
since then, the science is actually there. Lucy, Ricky, hey, Lucy, Ricky. I swear to God, I look like I'm listening to I Love Lucy on TV. But the scientific world is starting to fall into, and they're proving that black holes and portals exist, where you can go through it and lose a few seconds or lose a whole hour. And they're actually talking about this is what they believe is in possibly in the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, because there's been planes that have gone through and come out on the other side, and they lost like a whole hour. And they documented from the airport when they left, what, you know, I mean, the airports had the data. And then when it came back on the screen, and the guy's still alive, so he talked about what it was like. So, I mean, there's lots of evidence of it. And I was like, this is just really super fascinating. So, when we see sometimes in, you know, these paranormal shows that go on, there was one a few years ago that I actually watched, and they were talking about how sometimes like it's residual energy, or sometimes they feel like whatever spirit, they don't know they're dead, but they're time looping. They're like keep going over and over and over the same thing. So,
like a Groundhog Day.
Right. Okay. So this is the definition of a time loop. It's a time loop or a temporal loop. It's a re-experience in a span of time, which is repeated over and over. And they want to get out of that cycle. They want to change the outcome of what happened. And I was like, wow, that's like kind of crazy, but it's also kind of connected with residual energy. Like when we go, you see people, they go in and they go into like prisons or sanatoriums where they had, you know, and it's like, why haven't these people left? Well, they haven't left. They could leave, but for whatever reason, because maybe that's what they knew, especially if they were mentally handicapped people, you know, maybe that's just how they are, and that's what they know. So it was a big trippy few days when I was looking all this stuff up, and it's quite amazing that there's been things that they cannot explain that have happened. Taylor reminded me of this one. When not Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans, but the other one that came out, that was the first one. They had a team. The guys were plumbers, and they took a bunch of people. They went up to where they shot The Shining, right? The original one with Jack Nicholson. And they went up to this, and apparently there's stories and lore about this place being haunted because it's so old, right?
Right.
So they set up cameras and recorders and stuff to sleep in various rooms for the team, and then there were a couple that would be like in where they call the headquarters, or where they're setting all their equipment up.
Observation room.
Yeah, right. And this one room, and I looked at it over and over and over, and I like, this is like time bending, right? This is like actually time bending. They were in there, and they could hear a woman speaking like you and I would speak, right? But there was nobody there. And the team was the only ones in the building. And they were like, what the heck? So they asked her, can you see us? And she responded, where are you? Are you hiding in the wall, or where are you? Why can't I see you? And they literally had a conversation with her, but she was from the 1800s, the late 1800s.
So there are some people that say, okay, so let's set it up with, first of all, energy. This ball of energy can travel in all directions all at once.
Right.
We are what? What are we? We are energy. Our spirit, our soul is energy. So some people say that we are living multiple lives all at once.
Yeah.
At once, right? So maybe I've got 10 lives going on right now in this moment. This life is doing this. Another life is performing surgery on somebody or something. Another life is on another planet, and another life is whatever. So imagine, just think about when you meet someone you feel like you've known for your whole entire life, first, second meeting. Maybe
Right.
it's because you've already met in one of those other lives.
Oh, that's an interesting concept. Oh yeah,
That is happening in the moment.
yeah, that's an interesting.
That gave me chills.
Well, like people say they have deja vu. I think that's part of it as well. I think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing stuff that they already did or they're doing in a parallel. And I will tell you, this was back. Taylor was in college. Oh, this is about 2014, 2015. And she came home and she took me up to Walmart's. And she stayed in the car because she doesn't like going in because everybody, they recognize you and she doesn't want to deal with people that she went to high school.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she's sitting out in the car listening to music or whatever. So I went in and I went through the line and I passed out. And next thing I knew, I was waking up and all these people were looking at me, like down at me, like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, just help me get up, right? When I got up, when they pulled me up and I turned, I saw myself mirrored. It was like looking at a movie, but it was like everything. And there was like no barrier. And myself on the other side actually turned around and we both looked at each other like, what the heck? And we pointed and different clothes. I had different clothes than the other one. And I was like, holy crap. So time bending, I think there's something to it. And Einstein was so far above his time to begin with. I mean, he was crazy genius. And I think a lot of what he brought through was true.
Well, I'll tell you an experience I had in my 20s. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was married to my first husband. The girls were really little. And one night, I just sat straight up in bed. There was a woman, she was all in white. She looked a lot like me as far as size, shape, and all that. And I sat up and we just had a conversation. I cannot tell you what we said. I have no idea, but it was a long conversation and then parted ways. And it was like, and I was telling my ex-father-in-law about it because he was psychic, extremely amazing at what he did. And he said, that was you were talking to yourself. That was your future self. And I'll never forget that because what she gave me was the feeling like, look, you're going to go through all these things and it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. That's what it felt like. But I can't tell you what we talked about. I could not remember. As soon as I woke up, I couldn't remember. But it was so distinct, and I sat straight up in the bed and just had this long conversation with this woman who ended up being myself.
Yeah, isn't it wild? Hi, Angelia. How are you? I see you down there. And who else came in? Kay came in. Yeah, it's I don't know. You can't explain it, but you can't explain it away either because it's something you'll always remember. And it's so wild, I guess would be the way. It was like I couldn't comprehend. Just like you're saying, like how did that happen? Like
it was like I split apart from my own self, and it was my spirit self that my physical self was having a conversation with. It was weirdest but the most calming thing I could ever experience. I mean, I can remember it just like yesterday. So it was like I wasn't meant to remember the things that went from A to B. I was only supposed to remember the feeling that I was given of, look, it's going to be all right. You're going to make it through all of this. It's going to be okay. Because I
Well,
felt like she was probably telling me this is what's going to happen.
right. Well, when my grandmother passed, I was 13 years old, and I was in my room at night, and she died on Christmas Eve. And I went to bed. It was in the winter. It was very cold. My dad got up because we hadn't had the funeral yet, and he got up in the middle of the night, went to the bathroom, and he opened my door, and he looked in. And the reason he told me he looked in was because he wanted to make sure I had blankets because it was so cold, even with the heat on in the house. It was really cold. And when he opened the door, I was sitting there talking to my grandmother. And she was sitting on the end of my bed, and he looked at her, he looked at me, looked back at her, eyes were just like, holy crap, and he just gently grabbed the door handle and pulled it shut. And she told me things. I didn't remember what things they were.
Right.
But she told me, she was there for quite a while, and she told me stuff, and then she said, you need to be there for your mom and your dad because blah, 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 blah is going to happen, and they're going to need to be able to rely on you. But I didn't know what.
The details, right. You didn't know the details.
She said, I need you just to promise me that you'll be there for your mom and dad. And I said,
right.
Of course. And I did, and there was a lot of stuff that both my parents went through, and it was actually just shortly after that my sister got cancer, and then she died in 1979, which was 4 years after I saw my grandmother, and it was horrific for my parents. It was horrific for the whole family, but my parents, I mean, it was horrible. Right. And I always think back to that. So, yeah, if we're living in parallel, I mean, I just think that we as human, I don't think our brains, at least in this universe right here that we're in, I don't think our brains can actually comprehend what it is exactly.
Right. Well, because we haven't been conditioned or programmed to question those things and to see in that way. Cindy here says, sometimes in my dream, I'm running and jumping up to fly. And when I'm up, something keeps bringing me back down. That is you feeling like you don't have freedom or you're unable to do the things that you really, truly want to do, what your soul wants to do. That's you feeling like you can't do that. Like something is bringing you back and saying, nope, you can't do it. Whether it's herself, you're telling yourself that, or it's something in your life you're not letting go of that it keeps you grounded.
That's the biggest one. I think that it usually is you're not letting go of something in the past so that you can move forward.
Right. Or even something that is present that you should be letting go of that, keeping you from that freedom.
I don't know. I just, like I said, that topic just, and it was weird because everything that I looked up was just would give me another question to ask. Like there's either, it's kind of like, you believe that spirit moves on and we are able
to. So just imagine if we were, because we have been so programmed in this particular reality to believe in the earth is a globe. I'm not arguing that. I'm definitely not a flat earther kind of person because every other celestial body is round. Why would ours be different shape?
Right.
But anyway, I'm not going to argue with people over that one. But we are conditioned to believe this is what the earth looks like. This is what the moon looks like. This is what the sun and the moon and earth do. And don't question it.
Right.
Don't question any of it. This is the way it is. A, B, C. This is your ABCs, A to through Z. Don't question it. That's what they are. This color is purple. Don't question that. This is purple. This is purple. This is purple. So, but if we had been trained to see things in a different way, we would probably be able to see the energy off of this bottle instead of just the color.
Absolutely. Well, time is a man-made thing. Time is a man-made constraint. Time is something that doesn't exist in the spirit world.
Right.
But we've been, like you said, we've been brought up to understand
conditioned.
time, right? So I think that's kind of why I kind of got engaged with that, because there's, like, I know you are, I know I am, and I know there's a lot of other people out there that do the things we do, and it's like we step outside of time to connect. So we take those constraints off and just let them go, because we're connecting for people.
I believe this is why we're having the great awakening now. This big part is the technology. And another part is that the younger generations are saying, hold on, wait a minute. I know you're telling me this is purple, but prove it's purple. Right?
Yeah.
They're questioning everything.
Yeah.
They're researching everything. You know, you have that computer right in the palm of your hand all the time. They are researching. They are doing their research. They're investigating. They're getting to the bottom of it and figuring things out, putting two and two together and putting the puzzle together. Whereas our generation, we had to go to encyclopedias and we had to trust what the encyclopedia said.
Right.
We didn't have other points of view.
Right.
We had one encyclopedia set, and that's our reference. We had no other way to do any investigating and figuring things out.
Right. Right.
If the encyclopedia said this was blue, then this is blue.
Right. So,
but I mean, yellow, it's yellow.
here's a thought. Okay, so for all the people that connect with spirit, for all the people that go out, and even the ones that are on TV, you know, that go out and ghost investigate ghosts to find proof of ghosts, which always cracks me up, because they'll ask it to, like, this, knock 3 times or knock on the wall,
and then they knock and then they run because they're scared because something knocked. Well,
or they keep asking it the same thing. They keep asking themselves. Well, my thing is, okay, when we see shadow people, and shadow people are not all bad. They're people, human spirit trying to manifest. So that's the way I've always thought of it. I'm not saying they can't be malevolent, but most of the time they're just trying to show themselves to us, see that we're there. So what if, like, when they go to the prisons or they go to anywhere, the hospitals or the mental institutions, what if what we're getting proof of is that we're living in a parallel life and they really still are alive in another parallel universe, and we've just kind of crossed over into that.
Yeah, there's that. But then again, when you do your research on some, and you can tell that you know that this was a very specific person from a very specific era that is now dead
in our world.
But what if you're saying, what if 1801 and 2023 are happening at the same exact time?
I mean,
and what if 1555 is happening right here, right now at the same time? I mean, what years are happening right now? I don't know.
Or is it a possibility that we can tap into that time?
Right.
Time bending. Actually doing time bending where we're crossing over into when they were there.
Oh, what was that movie? There was a movie. Me and Robert just watched it. It had Christopher Reeve. He was a playwright, and it had Jane Seymour in it. He was a present day in 1970s.
And he was going there. The letter that they were leaving in the box.
No. That's different. That was Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. This was a lady from like early 1900s or something, right? And then him in 1970, and somehow he time traveled back by doing this, by telling his brain that it was, let's say, 1889. It was 1889 at 6 o'clock at this specific place. That's what it was. And he had a tape recorder that was playing over and over and over again. So then he went and found him some old clothes from 1890s, right? And put those clothes on. He was staying in the same room that he was supposed to be in, right? And he made himself believe that, so that when he woke up, guess where he was? In
Oh,
1889, right. And he found her and met up with her.
that's crazy. But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That gives me
But
cold chills.
doesn't that though, if you think about it, and the people, like you said, they made a movie out of it. There's probably been books that are similar about it. What was it? Time and Again. That was actually Keanu Reeves and not Keanu, Christopher
I want
Reeve
you-
and Jane Seymour were in it, and they did it up on Mackinac Island, and it was
That's the one
about.
I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. That was filmed up here in
Yes.
Mackinac Island.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What if that's like where they got this is because this is what they've seen or experienced? That's crazy though.
Right.
I just think we got so many limits on ourselves that we're not open.
Because we have been programmed and conditioned to believe that this is purple.
Right.
This is green.
Yeah, but again, if you go back into like Einstein's years and all his stuff that he actually researched and did, it's kind of.
Because he looked at the world in a different way with a different set of eyes and experienced the world in a different way than what he was being told to look at it and the way he was told to experience it.
Well, look at Nostradamus. Look at Casey, right? What was his first name? Edgar Casey, was it?
Yeah.
Who they gave predictions. They put themselves into a state, and they were just asked constant questions by whoever was taking the dictation or whatever, and they could see and travel to what was going on. I mean, how can you? I just don't know how you can explain that other than the fact that there's parallel universe or parallel time bending going on.
Right.
I mean, the time bending thing was the first thing that actually, when I stopped to think about it, made sense. Oh yeah, when they went to the asylum.
That's true, Margaret.
They went to the asylum, and it's like, woo! Like they're actually living when they were living, and we're kind of mingling with them. That's just bizarre. What if that's like? What if that's like what we do? Like maybe that's what people that can see and hear, maybe that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not necessarily the spirit world, but it's more, this is what's really going on, and we can go in and out of those time loops, right, to get information. Because this, what we do is not normal.
No. Well, it's not mainstream.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Right.
Speaking about predictions, I predicted early last year, I did my predictions for this year. In November, I deemed it. Now we're talking November. New discoveries, roadblocks removed this month, smooth sailing ahead. Saturn takes its leave of the retrograde party on the 4th. So Saturn is going to go direct on the 4th. Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter are going to be in retrograde until the end of the year. Well, Neptune until December 6th. And when Saturn goes direct on the 4th, we'll feel more structure forming back into our lives.
Good.
Yes.
Pretty accurate.
Well, in December, I'm going to go ahead and tell you December because this one is like giving me chills and I feel like I have to go ahead and say it. Dare to Dream December. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Well, go watch The Secret, Dare to Dream.
Okay. Oh, The Secret? Yeah, The Secret.
But they have two versions. This is the Dare to Dream version, the newest version.
Okay.
See it, speak it, believe it, and then this is a big one. Allow it to be. I've got goosebumps all over.
I've been saying the word allow all year. That's the biggest message I was getting, is you need to allow it to occur. You need to open yourself to allow yourself to see, hear, do, whatever it is.
The roadblock is you. You are your own roadblock.
100%.
Yep.
100%. And that's a hard thing to get across.
Watch me get water all over me.
You need a bib. You need a bib.
A piece of ice went up to the front and then made the water go around.
Well, I don't know if you saw or not, but I finished another painting.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. It's fabulous.
Very interesting.
I still haven't touched the witch. I haven't.
Well, yeah, but this one, it's interesting because when I finished it, there was a lot of gold, like gold and silver in it, which I didn't really think about. But when I was doing it, and then now when I look at it, her head looks like it's turned a little bit and the wind is blowing it. And you can actually look at it two ways. You can look at it face on, but then if you look at it that way, as the head's turned a little bit, the way the hair was going, I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. That's kind of weird. So even after I was done with it and it's hanging on the wall here, the energy off of it's so crazy. Now I already have another one. This will be the last one, I believe.
Ooh.
Wow. And I'm not going to tell you who it is, but there's two people that are going to be on it. And it's just I have to sit and put myself in that mind space and let them do it.
Right.
And this last one took so much out of me. I just like, woo-wee. Never Joan of Arc, like stand in, empowerment, stand in your own empower yourself. And I thought, wow, I never looked into Joan of Arc. I mean, it's okay. I was like, okay, you wanted to have orange on this? Okay. And anytime I try, and it's same thing with this one as the last one. Francis's was blue. Hers was purple and silver.
Oh, wow.
In the lower section. And I was like, okay. And I just let it be. I didn't.
Right. You got out of your own way.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of us have to do. We have to allow things to happen. We have to put those obstacles that we set up for ourselves, or those locks or those straps that we put on ourselves.
It's like you can't say, this is what I want, but then keep telling yourself that you'll never have it.
Yep.
Or say, I want to win the lottery on one hand, but on the other hand, you keep saying, I'm the unluckiest person in the world.
Yep.
Bad things are always happening to me.
You can't
say that. You can't.
I said the other night to Taylor, I said, I would like to be Taylor Swift for one day. Just one day. Just one day. She goes, well, I mean, this was my response. Well, I mean, I guess, but like, I'd rather be Beyonce. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't my point. My point was, I would like to be Taylor. She goes, well, she's good, Mom, but she's not that. I'm like, excuse me, it's not about that. It's not about, I just would like to experience it one day.
Right.
What she does for everybody.
Because I don't ever hear about Beyonce giving anybody shit. I wouldn't want to, like you, I would rather be that person that is continuously giving.
I'm not a fan. I'm just not. And
I don't have anything against her or anything, but when you compare the two, taking talent out of it.
That's what I thought. And then Taylor said, well, Mom, she's like just a year older or 2 years older than I am. I'm like, okay. And
what's your point?
It's like, I'd still like to be her. I wish more people would emulate what she's doing. Right. And whenever she's doing good, now you got all this crap that they're trying to put her down with and pull her down. And Kelsey, the guy, I'm happy for her. I'm a happy camper that she's finally got this man who's really a man. He gets about the public, right? He understands about publicity, and he's just freaking fun. He's healthy. And it's like, why do people always have to rain on the parade? And,
it's people that are unhappy, and they don't, people might say they wish you success, but they don't want you to be more successful than they are.
Absolutely, they don't.
That's like, okay, so I have a personal Facebook page that is the real me. And then I have a Facebook page that is the work me. and it's all just my agents. And I spent a big portion of my life. I always go above and beyond, and I gave them way more than they ever, I was required to give them. So much of my time, so much of my energy, so much of the knowledge that I had inside of me that I didn't have to. I was never told, do this, this, this. I was told to do these two things and none of this extra stuff, but I always gave tons of extra. And I'm always supporting them, always on their, I go on that page every day and I go down and I heart and I compliment and do all that every day. How many of those people do you think share out anything about me? Or how many of those people have bought any of my books? Right.
But that's something we tell people all the time. And one of the things I pushed all year this year is we have to have self-care. We have to start looking at ourselves and saying, I like that person, but also saying to others that kind of use us, right? No, I can't do that right now. No, yeah. I'm not going to do that right now. You should be able to do it. Or no.
It's okay to say no.
But that's the other thing
and not feel guilty about saying no.
The guilt factor has been embedded in us that you have to take care of it.
You come last. Everybody is before you. You don't you dare do anything for yourself before you do for others. That's wrong.
It's 100% wrong.
It's not that you shouldn't do things for others, but you should put yourself first.
Yep.
Put your mental and physical health first.
Yep. And that's just such a big part of everything now.
And it sucks that we're just getting to this age to really let that sink in and understand that.
It is, but we're also in the age right now of history repeating itself again. Like all the negative stuff is coming back up again, but in as big of a way like it was in the 40s and 30s and, and then beyond time. Like with all the stuff in the Middle East, it's like this has been going on since before Christ was on the planet, and my big stand, and I put something out about it the other day, is what one did to the other was horrific. It was something that should never have ever happened. It's unthinkable. It's barbaric.
Right.
And in response, they do the same thing back. And they have civilian casualties there that's off the charts. And they're saying, but that's war? That's war? I don't know. I'm having a hard time swallowing it. I just don't understand why one person has to be over another person, or one way of culture is the only way.
Instead of the entire world working with each other. But you know what? If everyday people, if all the soldiers of every nationality, every country were to say, I'm not fighting, then all you got is the rich people, right? They're going to have to physically fight each other then, aren't they? If we aren't backing them up and we're not fighting those wars for them, then they have to get in a boxing match with each other.
Right, and that was my point I made the other day, is everybody, like even here in the U.S. or whatever country you're in, you have to stand up and say no. You don't accept this, because we're having it happen in the United States in an unprecedented time. The racism, the hate-based violence based on hate, like campuses, and it's like, why? I don't care if you're Catholic, Muslim, Baptist, Jewish, I don't care. But nobody is taking the time.
If I could make one change in the whole world, that's the thing I would do, is I would say that every soldier suddenly says, I'm not fighting your battle.
Yep.
I'm not fighting for your greed.
Yep.
If you want to take that man's money, then you get in the ring and fight that man.
Yep. It's again, it's a matter of what we allow. And
all war would stop. It'd be done. There would be no more, because they're not going to do it themselves, are they? No. They will fund it. They will give everybody all the toys they can come up with to fight for them, but they're not going to fight for themselves.
Right.
They want you to die. They don't want to die. They want to live the good life while you're out there risking your life.
Yep.
And if every soldier in the world realized that, maybe things would change.
Yep.
Maybe. Well, it would.
I just wish that people would have compassion and empathy for each other. I wish we would take care of our elders. I wish we would take care of our children. I wish that, our children didn't have to grow up so fast. All of that. And it's all it comes back to what we allow. Do we allow healing in? Do we allow good things to come? We have to allow it. Do we have all these atrocities going on around us in the cities and towns? Well, we have to be able to allow that for it to continue to happen.
Right.
And I'm not saying
if you want a better world, you have to build it.
Create it.
Create it in your own world.
One person,
and then let that continue to spread out.
One person at a time. 100%.
Yep. The ripple effect.
Yeah. I hope and pray that every day. And just keep putting that out. And there's not much else a lot of us can do right now about those things. But I've told all my kids that are my kids or kids from other mothers, if you need to leave from where you're at, you come home here.
Yep.
You come home here. We'll figure it out. And I think we have to support our young people because I think they don't have coping mechanisms for what's going on right now. And
they don't.
It makes me sad because of how some of them grew up.
Yep.
Just makes me sad. But on a good note, we can make a difference. And that's what's really important.
Yep.
That's what's really important.
One conversation at a time.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we had a great show today. Thank you, Miss Holly. And I'm going to let you say goodbye to everybody.
Have a fabulous one, everyone. Remember, what was it? What is it? Now we're talking November. Keep that mindset and continuously say, what's the best that can happen? And let's see what happens.
Yep, I think so. I agree with you. I love you. I love you.
Love you.
I love everybody else. You guys have a great day, and thanks for popping in.